Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm so glad that you came here to join Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That's me. And this is a reoccurring podcast. And I'm coming on 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all for an hour. There's exceptions. On Saturday, I come on at 8 o'clock for Vincent's show, so he has some people that can come to his show. So I move my time up. And then on Sunday, I come at 8 o'clock because I go to church. Now, Friday nights is Friday Night Lights. It's football, high school football. And tomorrow night is my son's, it's a playoff game, is high school. And I want to come in early, do my podcast at 4 o'clock. I still haven't yet got the green light, but I want to enjoy that football game with my son. I'm so glad you found me. You found me as Facebook, Fight CPS Bob Pace, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. Now, I mentioned the word CPS, and a lot of people may not know what CPS stands for, but what I call it is the Child Protection System, because in every state there are counties, and in each county is a system, and that system is a part of social services. It's mandated by our Congress that we protect our children from neglect and abuse. Further, it states that if a family is in need, then food, clothing, shelter, transportation, educational, medical, and included job is supposed to be provided for them. And if the child protection system needs to take away your children or break up your family, they're supposed to do what's called family reunification, because they found out that the best parents are the biological parents. So all efforts should be made for reunification. And there's been I have no idea why I suddenly disappeared there, but suddenly I was out of my podcast. Anyway, I'm back, and there are 4 ways to interact with this podcast. The first way is to, be in this room and do emojis and take notes and stuff. The second way is to send me a text message. Now, a text message, it can be either a comment or a question, and all I ask is your first name, your city or county, and then your state. And if you're from another country, because I have 15 countries involved, please list your province as well, maybe a state and a city, and your first name in your country. Try to be complete with your case, have much as you can about your CPS case. Now, a third way to interact with podcasts is be a guest on my podcast. And I have a show producer named Grace who does a very good job. I want to thank her. And all you do is you write her an email at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. and you tell her what day you like, Sunday or Saturday or Wednesday, and the time, morning or evening. And she'll put you on that particular show. She'll give you the link and give you the directions, what not to do, like no food, no eating, those kinds of things. Now, my last way, the fourth way, is to call in at 698 6990. That's area code 626. That's a live number, reaches my phone. I can only talk during my show times. I do not talk before or after my show times. So those are the four ways to interact with this podcast. And, you know, something a little quickly about me is that I'm a family man. Been married 42 years. I have 6 children, 3 older ones and 3 younger ones. And I too was in CPS and had my family broken apart and had to fight them. So it's been a really hard. Okay, I'm back. Um, so um, I too have been fighting CPS for 15 years. Now, um, one thing I've discovered, or I've not discovered, I made up 5 rules. Go real quickly. One, you need an attorney. That's why you heard Vincent Davis at the beginning of the podcast, because he likes to help you. There's lots of ways that Mr. Davis can help you. If you want 15 minutes of free consultation with him, all you need to do is do a podcast as a guest on my podcast, or call in and I'll put you on speakerphone. Once you that qualifies you for 15 minutes with Mr. Davis. If you want 30 minutes, down below I have a ticket running where you can get 30 minutes for $60 as a special arrangement. But you have to go to a website and you need to use your credit card and register with him for 30 minutes of private consultation for $60. And it's that website that is scrolling across the bottom of my screen. Now, he is a dependency lawyer with family and juvenile experience. He has fought CPS for 35 years. He's a trial attorney. He will get back your child. And on top of that, he's also done civil lawsuits where he's fought them and won millions of dollars, both state and federal court. So it's important you get an attorney that has a background in dependency, family, juvenile law. Now, rule number 2 is you get a notebook and you put all your documents in there. And one of the most important documents will be your timeline of your incidents. First line, you put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved. The second line is a summary of the incident. Third line is the outcome of the incident. And you use dividers and so forth and put all your stuff in there. My third rule is you do not talk to social workers and you do not talk to police. You do not give up your children. You don't open your home. They need to have a warrant or your permission to get it in that home. So you got to keep that in mind there too, and watch out traffic kidnapping. They have a tendency where they have a social worker at the hospital and they'll try to take your child in if you bring them in for emergency treatment or urgent care. Also, if you're having a baby, they try to do the same thing. You got to be careful there. Rule number 4 is do research on the internet about your case. You'll find so much out there. And rule 5 is to create a folder or an envelope with all your important documents, your birth certificates, social security cards, children's grades reports, marriage certificates, etc. So those are all important 5 rules that I wish I had known that could have helped me in the beginning. Now, I've covered out how you can interact in the 5 rules and pretty much told you about me. And I'd like to, help you all with anything that you'd like to bring across that relates to CPS. And the whole world is open because this broadcast can worldwide. And I'll leave my number up there. The other number on the screen, 888-888-6582, is my law office. You can call there if you want to retain Mr. Davis right away. Just tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Also, you need other kinds of law like real estate law or criminal law or divorce law. He has an attorney for you. So that's the number that you call in for the office. Now, I talk to people occasionally that come back as regulars and serve them with me last night. It's so nice to have you all that can be regulars and so forth there. Now, let me get my phone here. Oops. I leaned too far and I lost myself. I don't know why my seat now has changed itself. Oh, I'm trying to get myself situated where I don't look like I'm tilting, and I'm not. I'm sitting flat. But it's these pills behind my chair that I'm trying to adjust. And so, okay, now that should be better. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let me see here. No, yeah, there we go. I guess this is how you position yourself. So anyway, hi there, KK. So sorry about the other night. I'm glad you're back. KK is from Brooklyn, New York, and she has an important case coming on Monday the 18th. What happened, KK, the other day is I went to look up something that one of the listeners wanted to know about. And when I left to come back in, instead of going to my broadcast, I went to log in on my StreamYard and entered it as a second Bob Pace. And I couldn't get rid of myself, but I figured it out. But anyway, I apologized the other night for bailing on you because you were asking me lots of important questions and making a lot of good comments and helping other people. Did you want to call in to talk about your case and what's happening on Monday, the 18th? My number's open at 626-698-0990. I'd love to hear from you, KK Richardson from Brooklyn, New York. From Brooklyn, New York, from the Bronx. I think you're from the Bronx. Now I got myself confused. Anyway, welcome. A warm welcome there, KK. Okay. Um, I was checking to see on my messages, and I didn't see what I was hoping to see. Um, Now, the other day, KK, are you there? Can you hear me okay, KK? Brooklyn, New York. I know you're from Brooklyn, New York, KK. Okay. Now, there's lots of things that we could cover. I always need the input from you all because that would help me and what I need to do. Um, like there's topics that I have stored that we could talk about, like the 388 motion, or we could talk the ICWA Act of 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act, um, or maybe how to do a complaint against the local CPS, or to um, do a complaint against the state CPS. And then, of course, there's the federal government, too. There's lots of things we can talk about. KK, are you there or you stepped out again? Okay. What I like to do is see if Core's got some interesting topics that we can talk about in CPS. Um, I'm trying to find the best one here with Core here, and it's just We'll get there in just a second. Okay. Now, Cora is an application that I find information about the Child Protection Agency. And so thank you, KK. You may be busy or something here, but you can call in, KK. I'd love to talk to you and catch up. Has Owen ever reported a case to Child Protection Services? If so, what was the outcome? Well, here was an answer by Andrea. And Andrea says, do you know that if you make a report and there really wasn't any kind of abuse, they can still take your children, make your life hell, and get away with it? They lie and twist the truth to suit their agenda. They do not help anyone but themselves. In my experience, CPS isn't there to help children and families in need. They tear families apart. Women in domestic violence situations are scared to go to them for help because all they do is steal your kids from you and then require you to take all these classes and assessments while your children and you are completely traumatized from being separated. They never offer you help that you need, like housing to get away from the abuse. Job security comes in the form of federal funding for placing children in foster care. I haven't seen evidence of what is the best interest of the children. They destroyed me and really damaged my kids. Well, that is typical. That whole little answer about CPS is typical what I find out in about the over 600 people I've talked to on here. And it's sad. It really is sad. Now, another person, Marilyn, said, I reported my brother-in-law and his second wife several times. His wife family called CPS on them. Other members of my family called on them, and schools called CPS on them. The only time anything was done is when the three boys from his first marriages were sleeping on a bare wooden floor that was covered in dog feces and pee. Well, not even a sheet underneath them. I called CPS. They made they clean up the bedroom and get the beds up for the boys. Everyone else in the house had beds. The dog promptly ruined them again, going to the bathroom on them because it was never taken outside. The boys were on the floor again. We kept reporting them for keeping food from our 3-year-old nephew for 3 days as a punishment for getting into leftovers. Nothing happened that time, or the time his wife told me she was doing their 8-month-old baby with cold medicine to keep her asleep all the time, and I called them. There were too many more incidents like this. That was Missouri during the 1990s through 2005. They have 13 children total now. The youngest is 7. I don't know what happened or is calling, but CPS visits their house at least once a month now. They thought we were, and I didn't even know for sure CPS was going to the house until they told me. We didn't talk to them for years because of the children. We couldn't help them, and they wouldn't even allow them to come to our houses anymore. We used to take them overnight as much as possible for visits. My daughter, as well as my husband and I, it hurt to see that they're doing this to the kids when we couldn't do anything about it. Not the 9 kids he had and his second wife had together as much as the 4 from his first wife. But all the kids were or abused. The second one he and his second wife had is 23 and she's a psychotic. So far, the only one, although the older kids have plenty of problems. One of them is still deep in meth, but he has a job, wife, and children in the house. So that's one of my experience with CPS. Oh boy, I just here's another one. Is child protection services corrupt? Absolutely, they're corrupt. The foster adoption industry is a multi-trillion-dollar a year federal payout. And I agree right there 100%. I agree right there. And KK, if you're there, you're perfectly welcome to call in and talk about your case. Give me an update. That would be great. I'd love to hear from you, KK. I'd love to hear from you. So it's a multi-trillion-dollar a year federal payout made in monthly installments per county per warm bodies, in custody per child head of court. Think about all the child protection investigators, supervisors, family court judges, state oversight employers, supervisors, receptionists, guardians, and Lindems, bailiffs, attorneys, court reporters, clerks of the court that need a weekly paycheck and are financially dependent on warm bodies enter the child protection to earn their paycheck to make their mortgage and car payments. And no one's out there is abusing their kids. What are they going to do to live? In fact, statistics say that approximately 450 biological parents are the murderers of their own children each year. That's 500 parents that murder children each year, coupled with 73 million children in America, which means this is a chance that a child of a biological parents was killed by them. So their blanket ground of neglect is a propaganda to enter kids into a system that earns these officials federal dollars and even timely adoption stipends when they can adopt a child out with 24 months of removal. I think we should all watch former Senator Schaefer's videos on the corrupt business of child protection services before they become illegal to view. God bless our children. These stories I read are so true. I know from firsthand experience because in my case, and it was a horrible case, it started in 2010 when I lost my job through no fault of my own. And I was out trying to find work. And meanwhile, my in-laws were calling in and saying my wife and I weren't taking care of the children. So once a week, either the mother, the father, the three sisters, the brother would call and make up allegations that weren't true. And that's the bad part about lay people, because lay people a lot of times uses the CPS to make matters worse. They do. They make matters really bad. And I know that it is a sad state of affairs when you have to defend yourself. Every week they come out and I would show them my home and tell them I show them my utility bills and their school records and everything else, that they're in school and their grades were great and everything else. But CPS believes any Tom, Dick, and Harry that calls in. And right away you're pronounced guilty until you're proven innocent. It's the only kind of law that you're guilty. In every other law that you're innocent till you're proven guilty. Anyway, it is a sad state of affairs. And so I really want to tell you that you have to be careful when you deal with CPS. You don't want to make unnecessary phone calls to them, but if a child is in danger, then they need to be helped and protected. Just I wish, they say over 1,000 children are killed every day. And that is sad. That is sad. 500 need help every day. And where are the social workers? They're out making trillions of dollars off of false allegation families and destroying those families. Why? Because they don't have money to hire an attorney, and they will use the court-appointed attorney, which is no good anyway, because the court-appointed attorney doesn't have background in dependency law or juvenile or family dependency law. They're just criminal attorneys, brand new, starting out, and their caseload is so heavy, they don't have time for your case. They'll just say a few things and move on to the next case. So having someone to be an attorney is very important, but you got to have the right kind of person to have it. That is the right kind of person. And so my case got worse and worse to the point where after 5 years, they got a hold of the police, and the police detective found out, my routine and followed me, and then had me stopped, and I go to my home, and they wanted to search my home. And if I knew the law then that you don't allow people in your home unless you have your attorney present, I would have done that. I would have told them, I'm sorry, and I opened up the home. I need my attorney present. If this is a legal matter and I'm being charged, then charge me. And they were on a fishing expedition. They didn't really know what to charge me because they couldn't find anything except the allegations. And that's the hardest thing about there. You have to deal with it on the layperson with the allegations are made by all the people that live there. Oh, excuse me. Let me see if I can get someone to talk on the show, and maybe they could. I know that Faye was helping me, and so let's see if she's available to talk right now. She has a lot of great ideas, and you put there. So Faye's from Richmond, Kentucky, a single mom, and she has had a really tough life. Started as a foster kid and then had 2 children herself, and then one of them was taken away for no reason. So we'll see if she's up and about. Well, she's not answering there, so let me go see if I can get her another way. She was talking about how corrupt Kentucky was last night. Every day she finds so much corruptness there, and it's hard. So she must be really having a really busy day. Well, see if Natalie.
Your call has been forwarded to.
Yeah, looks like most of my people, including all my listeners, are all asleep, I guess. So I was trying to get some participation here. KK, if you come back, I'd love you to call in, KK. She's from Brooklyn, New York, and she has an important case on the 18th on Monday. So, KK, are you there? Anyway, we can go back to Cora because there was some interesting articles that were popping up, and okay, let's see now. Yeah, here's something by Cora. Here's a question that has popped up a lot. If a child spends their whole life in foster care system, is never adopted, what do they do when they turn 18? And this has actually happened to Danielle in Georgia with her son. Judith has answered the question here. I feel for the questionnaire. I've been a foster parent. The system is cruel. In one case of our foster children was eligible for adoption, we were told. We cared for him, and my nurse wife gave him physical therapy where there is a 15-month-old cannot walk or use his hands due to his parents keep him tied up. She got him running and drawing. At just shy of his second birthday, Child Protection Service tore him away, saying that he'd be reunited with his brother. That lasted 2 weeks when the new foster family couldn't care for both of them and then turned them back. We offered to take and adopt both. We're prevented from ever seeing this little one again. We don't know what happened to him or the thoughts of the system workers. 20 years later, my daughter was arrested on false charges of abusing her 2-month-old when he had a rare medical condition called a paralyzation of his rib bones, mistaken as trauma. He went into foster care system. The protective social worker determined that his grandparents, us, didn't want him, and he was placed into a long-term foster home. Lucky for us, the foster mother, a wonderful person, contacted us and let us see him from 4 states away. We had to fly and stay in hotels. Finally, after years, we were able to get a new service worker assigned and set up to adopt him just before his second birthday. We had to take weeks of classes and be licensed as foster care parents for any of this to happen. Our house was inspected, and we go through several interviews. It seems like every part of the system is broken. This writer tells the consequences of this life system. Well, I don't know if that really answered the question, because when a child, they were only talking about 2 months. So sometimes these questions by Cora about CPS isn't really okay. Now this has happened sometimes too, and we'll see how this works here. My child's father is refusing to give me permission to take our daughter for a visit back to my country, my home country, just because we're separated. I've not visited um, the home for 5 years. What should I do? Well, this is answered by Katie, and she says that she's a happy married, 20 years old, a 20 years marriage that has a 4-year old. Chances are he worried you won't bring his child back, and he'll have little to no legal recourse to force your home country to recognize his parental rights, allowing visitations or even relinquish the child back into his custody or to give him a shared joint custody. Abduction, where a child is taken overseas without the other parent's consent. This may be a criminal offense under the UK law. Wrongful retention, where a child has been kept in a foreign country following a overseas trip without the appropriate consent. Abduction. He also have no legal recourse or means by which to compel you to return to the UK with his child. Bottom line is, he's worried about international parental child abduction, and he has every right to be worried. There's no reason why you can't visit your home country on your own or have your family visit you in order to see your child. If the tables were turned, would you feel comfortable about him taking your child to a foreign country to visit home? Well, that was kind of a round in circles thing as I was looking for more help out there. But sometimes these questions aren't as powerful as they mean to be here. But let me see if I have some more here. Okay, here's a question here. Why do social workers not foster children if they know it all? It's not a fact in evidence that social workers do not foster children. They're in an excellent position to pick out the least damaged ones and to leverage the system to their own advantage. If it's ever true that social workers do not foster children, it may well be because social workers in the United States are not paid very well. They may have higher priority concerns like paying off their substantial college debt and scraping together enough money to buy meat this week. Well, that's kind of a twist. That is done. That is definitely kind of quiz. Yeah, this here is about foster, and what it is I adopted a foster kid and got very close to her over the years. Now her parents want to take her back, and she's confused. What do I do if I don't want to lose her? Well, Carrie answered the question. She's been a mom since 2000, and she says some people. I read a couple responses. I'm guessing your daughter is a teen or close to it. Personally, I think taking legal action or trying to forbid her from contact with them would make her feel like she has to choose. Just you or you and your spouse need to sit down and make a list of what level of contact you're comfortable with. Many conditions, such as times for phone calls or text messages, to keep the communication open. I personally wouldn't allow unsupervised visits at all. As has been previously mentioned, it takes a lot for parental rights to be taken. As a mom, you need to ensure her safety. 2, talk to your daughter. Explain to her your fears and your concerns. Listen to her with a open heart and mind. After all this is her life. Help her with navigating these confusing feelings. One big thing I had is to come to terms with when my ex-family had my son for his well-being was to accept that he had more than one mom. That was really hard put to swallow, but once I did, I was able to more fully support them. It sounds to me that if that's your goal too. 3, talk to the birth parents without the child present. If emotions run high, witnesses can only hurt or more. Let the birth parents know that they are still important to your daughter. Explain to them your rules and answer their questions honestly. Don't let them bully or manipulate you. Make it clear to them all terms are subject to change without notice. Example, someone feels off, doesn't get the opportunity, your own daughter shows signs of increased distress, or they break your rules and then they don't get the privilege of being in your child's life. 4, continue to keep an open dialogue with your daughter. Sometimes I need to remind my daughter that I can't help if I don't know. Kids see the stress as adults are under. I have found that mine will not tell me something because they're sorry the stress will be able to much for me. It's our job as adults to make the home that's safe, and sometimes means we have to compromise and be hard, but you got this. Well, that was one about foster care, getting close to them. So, we have about 12 minutes left in my podcast, and I want to see if KK's still there. She'd like to call in and tell about her case coming up on the 18th. Also, anybody else that's listening, I have looks like about 10 of you in the room. So if you could text me what I could do to answer about your case so I can help you. I'm available, twice a day, 7 days a week, and I'd like to help you if best I can. So please text me a message or the call in at my number at 626-698-0990. It is a very hard thing to deal with CPS. There's no right answer. You have to look at these social workers like it's open heart surgery. What I mean by that is, in open heart surgery, you're going to get a viable doctor to do the work. Same thing goes true in the battling with the CPS system. To talk to them, you need to get a professional family juvenile dependency lawyer, someone that has experience, has fought CPS. And I can't emphasize the importance of an attorney. I had one in my case, Vincent Davis. Plus, I had to sell my home, and it was a terrible feat. The kind of social workers that you're going to be up against, and I'll tell you firsthand, my social worker was not high school educated or college educated. She didn't have a license. All she talked about was the money part of social work. It's $1 trillion business. She talked about her newly weekly Gucci purse her her BMW, the car, and then about her clothing, her jewelry, accessories, and all that. And she, has everything going for her. It's a person that is um, limited income. So it is a hard thing to fight because you don't know. It's like Alice in Wonderland. The story goes that she was in her yard and fell in the rabbit hole and met the Chester cat who directed her to these rooms. Well, each room was weird. Like one room set off with your head. So that's what CPS is. You're like you're like Alice in a Wonderland. You don't know where they're going, what they're doing. They don't do family reunification. They don't believe in it. All they want is their $1 trillion business of taking money. Now, in my case, each of my 3 children were taken, trafficked into foster care. They were collecting from the state $60,000 per child. That's 3 children. And, 20,000, that's $60,000 for all 3 of them. It doesn't take $60,000 to take care of children for a month. It is tough because you have your hands tied because you're not a doctor. You need to have that lawyer, that dependency juvenile family lawyer in there for you to fight in your case. Otherwise, they're going to end up just being away from all the help that they could get you. So they're not your friend. They lead you up and they put you down. There's no transparency. The money is coming from the federal government to the state, and there's no accountability. They don't have a board of directors or supervisors. It's kind of like they've gone rogue. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but the majority of the ones that I've talked to have ended up being that way. There's only been 3 social workers that have talked on this podcast, and one of them, Carol, from Maryland, had a clinical psychology degree and had 6 months of training by the CPS office in Maryland. But that's the exception to the norm because most of the time they don't have the training. They're too young and they manipulate you and take it in strictly for the $1 trillion business. Now, my case ended up sadly because my wife's sister and her husband were trying to adopt our daughter, who's 12 at the time. And the type of social worker, as I told you, ours didn't have a high school or a college degree, didn't even have a license. All she thought about money, her incentives, or bonuses. Well, anyway, my attorney, Vincent Davis, was talking to her on the stand. She had already pledged that she would tell the whole truth. And when she was asked a question, how do you feel about the my wife's parents or my wife's sister and her husband adopting our daughter? And she told them that it'd make a good mother, a good parent for the child. And then Vincent Davis asked, what about CPS? And she said, no, they didn't have CPS. Well, Vincent got medical reports, that they had CPS issues back in 19. Oh boy. She had well, anyway, she went back and okay, I'm sorry. Yes, Grace, I'm going to wrap it up. She went back and she lied on the stand. She committed perjury. And the perjury was where she said that they were beautiful parents. And then Vincent asked him, did they have domestic violence? She said, no. Well, he brought a folder with paperwork, and the paperwork showed that they had about 30 cases of domestic violence. Most of it was physical. And that being said, she committed perjury and lied. And he read one by one, and then she finally broke down and cried, left the courtroom. She was embarrassed, and she could be sued because I could sue her if I had a retainer of $50,000 because she committed perjury. And then what's so sad about it further, she told us parents later that you're never going to see your daughter. And what she did to our daughter is that she told her daughter to emancipate from your parents. That means divorce your mom, your dad, your both sets of grandparents, all your aunts and uncles, and your brothers and your cousins. And she did all that, changed her name. She was told to change her name. She did. And also seal her birth certificate, get a new birth certificate so that the foster family can adopt her. And they can get her a birth certificate showing her that they were the parents. This was really bad. This is the kind of social workers you're dealing with. And as I say, all of them are bad, but mine was bad. I know this from firsthand. And the people that have been talking to my podcast know the same thing. They have said it's been bad. They have said it's been bad. So, this is the typical social worker. I mean, I have one other incident, the Pink Ladies in Arizona. They were these 8 social workers who decided to buy pink T-shirts and put on since the front, professional child kidnappers. On the back, they said, parents, you know where your child's at. They paraded around in Costco and Kmart, Walmart, Target, Best Buys, saying this to all the families out there. And they got in trouble. They got fired along with the director. So it's 9 people, but only left one person left in the office. And this was in Prescott, Arizona, in the year 2000. And it's well documented. That's the kind of attitude these social workers are. That's the kind of attitude. Well, I'm getting ready to close the podcast. I want to thank KK Richardson for calling in from Brooklyn, New York. It was nice to hear from you. I hope you call in tomorrow or tonight and talk further so I get an update about that. Thank you all for your emojis and coming into my room. And you will see me again at 7 o'clock tonight, Pacific Standard Time. This is Bob Pace signing off. There'll be an important message from Vincent Davis that will follow me when he talks about his questions, answers for Saturday. So listen carefully and keep fighting for your children. This is Bob Pace.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.